All right, so I've been wanting to do a what's in the bag video for a while now, and I just never get around to it. So finally gonna do it. My equipment is not like the newest stuff that's out necessarily. I mean, it's still fairly recent equipment, but I figured I'll just gonna run down everything I use head to toe, and I'm sure there's probably still people that could be interested in, you know, kind of like a little review. Especially, I've tried to find a lot of stuff on Vaughn equipment because that's what I have mostly online, and for whatever reason, I feel like Vaughn has the least amount of like reviews and stuff, at least on YouTube, that I've tried to find. So maybe this will be useful to somebody. But anyway, so we're gonna start, like I said, top down. So we're gonna start with the masks. So I have two masks right now. This is my backup one. It's a Hackva, which they don't make them anymore. They're out of business, which is a shame because they were a really good mask. Probably the best bang for your buck, I would say. You know, it had like that mid-level price point, but protection-wise, I'd put it up with any mask out there. I put it up with any pro mask. The only thing is, it was a little on the heavy side. That was like the only bad thing anyone ever had to say about these masks. But honestly, when you're in the middle of playing, you don't really notice it. You notice it if you're holding it. You compare it against another mask, yeah, I can feel it's a little lighter. But when you're playing, I don't really think it's a big deal. And I was really sad when they went out of business because I had another one on order that was gonna be my next mask. It was called the Halo. They were gonna come out with. And like literally right before they were about to make mine, they went out of business. So there was a few made. I've seen a couple floating around out there. I wasn't able to get one, so I had to go with a different mask. But yeah, I mean, I still, even though, I mean, I would call this my backup mask right now, but I still rotate it in every now and then just because I love the paint job. This is my all-time favorite goalie mask paint job. John Van Beesbrook had this. He had it on an armadillo mask, but this was his paint job. And if you couldn't tell, I'm a Panthers fan. All my gear is Panthers colored. So yeah, it's a pretty sick paint job. This was done by a guy named Luke Dobby. I might be pronouncing that last name wrong, to be honest. Dobby. Sorry if I did. He's up in, I want to say, Boston area. So I sent it up to him to get painted. I actually found him I was on a goalie message board, the goalie store bulletin board, and I found him on there. So it was a while ago I got it painted. I believe at the time he was mainly painting like motocross and motorcycle type helmets. He wasn't necessarily a goalie helmet painter per se, but he plays goalie, I think. So, and he offered to do this. You know, I put it out there that I was looking for someone to do this paint job for me. He offered to do it because he said it was like one of his all-time favorite paint jobs. And he knocked it out of the park. I mean, this looks awesome. Look at that. Top-notch artwork. I mean, you can't really see because I have the strap harness in the back. Got the Panthers secondary logo, or their older secondary logo. And my name, Louis, in the back. So yeah, that's the Hackva. The mask that I use mainly now, my newer mask, is the Fusion 962. This one has a Wolverine paint job because I'm a big Wolverine fan. This one I got done by Mac Masks up in Chicago. I believe he's based out of. Again, he did a really good job. Got the X-Men X. It's kind of hard to see again with the straps, but it's the X-Men logo X on the back. It's pretty beat up, as you can see. The paint, unfortunately, great paint job, and it's just getting beat to shit, chipping up. I mean, you could see it with the other one too. On the chin, the Hackva, around the top. I actually think the Hackva one is holding up a little better. But yeah, ultimately, I don't know if I would do a paint job again on my next mask. Only, not because I'm not happy with it. I think both of them look great. but it's like you pay all that money for the paint job, and inevitably this happens. You know, you're gonna get hit in the head. It's gonna chip. There's no way to avoid it, and it's just a shame. So I'm thinking maybe on my next helmet I'm gonna do a wrap, because from what I've seen, the wraps look really good. I mean, pretty much as good as the paint, at least through the pictures I've seen. I can't tell that they're a wrap and not a paint job, and it's a lot cheaper. And if they get dinged up or whatever, I guess you could probably just replace it. So I think on my next mask I'm just gonna do a wrap instead of a paint job, although I'm very happy with the paint jobs I got with these masks. All right, just a little more about the Fusion, especially as it compares to the Hackva. So yeah, it's a little lighter. If I'm being honest, I would say, you know, this one, the protection's better with the Hackva, but that's not to say that the protection's bad with this one. It's just if I had to pick, the Hackva has better protection. The Hackva one still has the original foam in it. I never replaced anything in this one. It could definitely use some replacement. I think I'm probably gonna get a Maltese replacement kit for it pretty soon, which is what I got for the Fusion mask. I got the Maltese padding replacement kit, and I really like it. I like it better than the stock padding that came with the mask. I just feel like it gives me a little better fit. I feel like, because when you use the Maltese padding, it's actually like less padding than what the stock masks usually come with, but it's still the same protection, and it's just, I guess because it's a little less padding, I feel like I get a little more maybe airflow in. It's just maybe a little lighter. I don't know, it just felt better as soon as I put it on after I installed the padding. So I felt like it gives me a little bit of a better fit. I mean, I got a pretty big head, and I feel like before with the other padding, my head was kind of pushing out a little bit more, but this one, because it's a little more maybe streamlined, I don't know, I get a little bit of a tighter fit in the back. So anyway, that's the masks. Next, moving down, neck protection. I used to use the plastic danglers when I was younger, for the longest time, until about 2010, 2009, somewhere around there. It wasn't the first time it broke, but that was the last time I was using the dangler and it broke. And I was like, kind of sick of it breaking. Honestly, wasn't crazy about how it jiggled around, whatever. So I started looking into the collars and stuff that go right around your neck. So I think the first one I got was like a generic, like iTech collar or something. I hated it. I didn't like the way it felt around my neck. You know, it was kind of stiff, and it didn't irritate my neck, but the material wasn't very comfortable. So anyway, I've been hearing, at the time, like I said, 2009, 2010, around there, when I got fed up with the dangler, I had been hearing a lot about Maltese collars. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna give it a try. So I got my first Maltese collar. Loved it. Very first time I used it, it felt a little weird. Just anything around your neck when you're not used to having it around your neck is gonna feel weird, I guess. So it felt a little weird, but a couple skates and it wasn't even a question of anything with it. It was great. Felt very comfortable. The materials they use are comfortable. The way it's like articulated is very, like, it moves with your neck. It doesn't feel like it's in the way whenever you're moving around. That Maltese eventually just got worn out from use. I mean, it got old, got a little stiff, got very all stained, sweat stained, whatever. It was just all old and beat up. So then I got another one, got a custom one, which is the one I use now. I've had it for maybe like a year or something. Got it in Panthers color, the old Panthers color, not this new one. I prefer the old Panthers colors, but it is what it is. So all my equipment stuff is the old Panthers colors still. But, so this is my current Maltese collar. The original one I had only had this part. It didn't have this thing. When I went to order this, I was like, what the hell, let me get this. I mean, honestly, I probably don't need it, but it's a little extra padding and it doesn't hurt, doesn't hinder me. I don't hate it or anything. So, I mean, I could have went without it, but I'm fine that I went with it. It's just extra padding in my chest area. It hangs down, you know? So it'd be like around here. If you ever have, I don't know if your chest protector's not protecting you that much there, I guess, you know, you get this, add a little protection. I don't think you need it. I think if you just get this, it's probably gonna be fine as long as you have a good chest protector, but whatever, that's what I got. I like it. It's very comfortable, moves with your neck very well. And it's protected me. I've never had a problem with, you know, because with the dangler, sometimes you, depending on the angle the puck comes or if the dangler's moving, it can still hit you. I had been hit a couple times where it got me in the collarbone. Luckily, it didn't break anything, nothing too serious, just, you know, hurt a lot, bruise. With the Maltese, that's never happened. I mean, you know, you'll feel, I mean, if you get a real hard shot to it, yeah, you'll feel it, but you're not gonna get hurt. It's not gonna be anything serious. You know, a lot of people say, complain, the main complaint with this, I think, is the price point, and it is expensive. So, you know, you just gotta see if it's worth it for you. I do think while I've been using this, I really haven't, ever since I've been using the Maltese, I haven't tried any of the other neck protectors or collars from other brands, but just like looking at them online and stuff, I feel like they've improved from like the old iTech one that I first tried, and they look a little better and they're cheaper. I mean, I've heard other people say that they like them, so you could go that way if you don't want to spend the money, but I mean, if you can afford it, I would definitely suggest Maltese. I mean, I think if you survey goalies, Maltese would win as far as what they would recommend. So that's the collar. Next thing, chest protector. I have the Vaughn SLR Pro Carbon, and I've been a Vaughn, as far as chest, I haven't always been a Vaughn guy for like leg pads and glove and blocker, but as far as chest protector and pants, I basically only ever used Vaughn. Especially with the chest pants, I had an iTech Prodigy pants. That was like the only other pant I had besides Vaughn. Chest protectors, it's only ever been Vaughn. I've like tried on other chest protectors. I did buy an old Bauer Supreme one from the old Supreme line, not the newer Supreme line. And I just couldn't get used to it. So Vaughn, and I've always, with the Vaughn, I didn't like the velocity lines of chest protectors I've had. I've always gone with the, they had the Epic, I think was the first version of this line. Well, actually, if you want to be technical, I think the old 5500 is what the Epic came from. I never had the 5500 though. I had some old low-level senior Vaughn chest protector when I was younger that honestly I kept way too long and it had hardly any protection. But anyway, when I started going with the pro level protection, I went with the Epic, and I really liked that. So there was, I think they had several different versions of the Epic. Then the Epic turned into the Vision, which I had a Vision one. Then the Vision turned into the Ventus, and then the Ventus turned into, I think this is still, they still use the term Ventus for this, but they mainly just call it the SLR Pro or Pro Carbon. It's kind of confusing because now Vaughn uses Pro for the senior level stuff, and Pro Carbon is the actual pro level stuff. I don't know why they have to be so confusing like that, but anyway, so this is the Pro Carbon, the supposed pro level stuff. A lot of people say that, oh, Vaughn's chest protectors, the stock ones don't come with enough protection, so you have to like order a pro beef up version. I could say that with the older stuff, the older Epics and my Vision I had before, that, yeah, it could have used some more protection. I mean, I've always been a guy where I'm more about mobility. Like, I'll sacrifice some protection for great mobility because I don't want to feel like I'm hampered at all. I want to be able to move. You know, I play kind of an athletic style. Not really so much just a blocking, sit there, butterfly style, you know. I mean, I'm 36 years old. I learned goaltending in the 90s. So between that and my hips aren't the greatest. So playing a strict butterfly style isn't gonna work with my hips. So between that and my hips and just when I learned in the 90s, I play more of a hybrid style. I mean, I've tried to incorporate as much new stuff as I can, but I still play a little bit more of an older school style. So mobility is super important to me. So in the past, I sacrificed some protection for mobility. I mean, it's still, for the most part, I'm still fine. Like, I didn't get any injuries or anything because of it. It's just that you would feel maybe stingers and hurt more. With this one, though, they really improved it. It's just, this is the stock. Well, I didn't order any kind of beefed up version, and I don't feel anything in this. And actually, when I first got it, I bought it new from somebody else that I guess he had bought it, and I don't know why he didn't use it or whatever. Or I think he had bought two and he was looking to get rid of one, I don't know. So I bought it new, but from another person, not from a store or anything. But anyway, when it first got delivered to my house, and I opened the box, I thought I made a mistake. So I was like, ooh, this looks bulkier than my Vision I had before. So I was worried about the mobility. But then I tried it on, and even though it looks a little bulkier, and like I said, they've improved the protection on it, the way it's articulated, and where there's bends and joints in it, it's great. I mean, it's both the most mobile and the most protective chest protector I've ever owned. Take a look at the back. I mean, I have zero complaints about this whatsoever. Just as far as sizing, I'm 5'11". I use a large. Let's see, what else can I say about this? I don't know. Like I said, I think it's great as far as protection and mobility. A lot of people for chest pads say Paso or Brown are the two best. I don't know, to me, I can't ask for anything more with this one. Like I said, in the past with other Vaughn chest protectors, I could see where you would say, okay, they don't quite have the protection. But with this one, I don't know how much more protection you want. I mean, it's a tank. I really don't feel anything in it. I haven't had one bruise wearing this. One stinger, one bruise, nothing. And that's not to say that you can't, because some people say, oh, if it's too protective, then you can't feel the puck at all and you lose it, whatever. I mean, I don't think that's the case with this. I mean, I still feel where it hits me, but there's just no pain or no worry. I mean, I have no worry whatsoever when I go out and play with this that I'm gonna get a shot that's gonna hurt. And I can completely move as much as I want. So, I love that chest protector. So next down would be the pants. This is gonna be pants and knee pads because I have the knee pads attached to the bottom of my pants. So the pant is the Vaughn V7 XF Pro Carbon. Mouthful. Anyway, so it's their Velocity Pro Level pant. Well, they actually have two. They have the XF and they have the XR. This is the XF, which is continues like the more traditional line of the Velocity pads that they've had. So like I said, I've basically stuck with Vaughn pads my whole time playing. And I've always stuck with the Velocity line. Well, no, the first pair was before Velocity line came out. I don't remember what the model was, old ones from the 90s, but ever since they've had the Velocity pants, that's what I've been using pretty much, except for the one iTech pant I had. So before this, I had the V6 2000, and then I upgraded to the V7. Starting with the V7, and I've seen they have it on the V8 now also, is this added waist protection right in here. I'm actually not crazy about that. If I'm being honest, I think the V6s felt a little better on me. I mean, it's not like these feel bad, and I play with them fine. I'm not unhappy with them. I just don't necessarily care for this added waist protection. Like with the V6s or even before that, I never had a problem with that getting hit around that waist area and having it hurt or whatever. So for me, it wasn't really necessary. And the main reason why I don't like it is because it affects the fit a little bit. So I wear large pants, which I probably could fit in. I probably could order a medium, but it's just one of those things where I've always had large. So like, I mean, not that I was ever fat, but right now I'm leaner than I used to be. So probably medium might be a better fit, but at this point I'm just so used to large. I've always been ordering large, and it never really, even though I was a little thinner than I probably should be for wearing a large, it never affected me fit wise, because I would just, especially with the Vaughns, they fit tighter in the waist, the Velocity line. So I would be able to cinch it in and it would be fine. With these ones, I'm not able to cinch it in as much as I had in past Velocity pants because of this. Kind of keeps it, this extra protection around the waist keeps it from being able to be cinched in more. So it fits a little looser on me. Now, I don't wear suspenders. I've tried them, and I just don't like the way it feels. Like how I was talking about with the chest protector, I don't like to feel restricted at all. And I know it's probably not really restricting me because it's just elastic, you know? But it's just that feeling of having something kind of pulling down on your shoulders. I didn't like it. Like I said, I've tried it more than one time actually, and I didn't like it. It bothered me when I was using it. So I don't use suspenders, and I don't tuck in my chest protector. But so yeah, so they fit a little loose. I mean, it's not a huge deal, but they do fit. I would prefer if I could get it cinched in a little tighter. So I guess I'm assuming they're gonna, I know they kept it with a V8, and from here on out they're probably gonna, I wouldn't think they're gonna take away protection. So maybe I'll go with a medium if I buy another pant after this. So moving on to the knee pads, I wear the Warrior Ritual X Pro. It's kind of hard for me to show you these since they're in the pant. So a little quick history of me with the knee pads. So when I was real young and I started back in the 90s, I didn't wear, the only knee pads I wore were volleyball knee pads, which I'll get to. I actually still wear them under these thin volleyball knee pads, but I just wore volleyball knee pads, and then the pads I would get at the time would come with this calf wrap. So that would be my kind of knee, I mean not calf wrap, sorry, thigh wrap. So that would be kind of my knee thigh protection. It wasn't great, you know, I would get some shots in there every now and then, but just like, all right, I'll deal with it. I started wearing knee pads, it wasn't that long ago. I started wearing knee pads in the 2000s, mid 2000s maybe, late 2000s. Yeah, maybe around 2000, again, 2009, 2010, maybe somewhere around there. It just got to the point, by that point I was still just wearing the volleyball knee pads and whatever thigh wrap came with, thigh wrap or thigh boards, because at one point I had the Reebok Premier, the very first Reebok Premiers that came out, they came with the thigh boards. So either the thigh boards, the thigh wrap, and the volleyball knee pad. And at that point, I had just gotten sick of getting hit in the knees. Like, this goes back again to me not wanting to have bulky stuff and wanting to be as mobile as possible. So I was always thinking like, oh, if I get those big, bulky looking knee pads, I'm not gonna like it, it's gonna affect me. But it just got to the point where I took one too many hard shots to the knee, and I was very lucky that I never got it in an area that like broke anything, shattered anything. It would just, the worst thing would be just that I would get a really bad bruise and it would swell up or whatever, and maybe I wouldn't be able to bend my knee too good for a couple days. But eventually I was like, I can't keep, I gotta do something, because eventually my luck's gonna run out and something real serious is gonna happen if I take a shot to the knee. So I got like iTech, I think the iTech knee protectors was the first one I got, and then I got some Bauer knee protectors. But the first couple knee protectors I got had the hard plastic knee landing area, and it did not feel good at all. I mean, I kind of just dealt with it, whatever, but it didn't feel good at all. Eventually, I found, I think it was the very first knee pads Warrior came out with. And I really like those because they didn't have the hard plastic right where your knee goes, where you land on it. So they were super comfortable, and they were as protective at the time as the other knee pads that I had been using. Over time, they, I guess because the elastic stretched out, which this is another issue with Warrior I'll get to with my cup. Their elastic sucks. But the elastic kind of got stretched out, and the knee pads they would get these gaps in them where the puck would hit. So I took a couple shots where the gaps were in my knee pads, the Warriors, the original Warriors. Then I upgraded from the original Warrior knee pads to the G2s that came out. Used that for a while. That worked fine. Then they came out with the ones I have now, which is the Ritual X Pro, which is their most beefed up version of the knee pads they've ever come out with. So what used to be their pro knee pads with the G2 is now considered their senior knee pads that I believe if you get Warrior leg pads, they come with it, but it's the senior version now. Used to be their pro version. Now their pro version is more beefed up. So these are great. I have zero issue with protection in these. Nothing, no shots getting through these. And I use it where I connect it to my pants. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see. Not all pants have this tab, and one of the reasons why I like the Vaughn pants is that they do have a tab that you can attach it to. Obviously I do this so the knee pads don't slip down. I mean, there's different ways you can stop knee pads from slipping down. You know, you can use tape or garter belt. To me, just attaching them to the pants is the easiest way. The only thing, I don't attach them. All right, let me see if I can. When you see this tab on the knee pad, I mean, obviously that's where it has the holes to put the string to attach it to. But if you actually attach this part to the tab in the pants, it makes the knee pads hang down way too low. So I mean, I guess maybe because it's different brands and they weren't meant necessarily to go together. That's why. So what I did was I just ran the string through. You can't see it, but there's a little strap that connects this part and this part. So I just ran the string through that, and it ends up lining it up perfectly with where my knee is in the pant. This is where the knee lands, where I said is soft, whereas other knee protectors use like a hard plastic in there. It's completely soft, but it's thick. One of the ways this knee pad is an improvement over their older ones is that this is a lot thicker than their older knee pads. So yeah, with these knee pads, I haven't gotten anything even close to like a bad shot to my knee. No problems. I'm completely happy with these. So far, the elastic on these knee pads are fine. Like I said, the old ones, they got stretched out and it caused some gaps. These ones so far are fine. Different story with my cup, which I guess I'll get to next. So I used the Warrior Ritual X Pro Cup. This is the second one of this exact same model that I have. This one isn't even that old. It's less than a year old. I know that. This one's like four to 6 months old. I don't know, something along those lines. So the reason why I had to buy this as a replacement to the same exact one I had before, all the every elastic on here got stretched out in my old one. I don't know why. I'm not, it's like I mentioned before, I'm a thin guy, so it's not like my body is stretching it out. Yeah, every piece got stretched out, and it's already happening again with this one. There's still some elasticity to it. I mean, I don't know if you can tell in the video, you can see the elastic looks a little funky. Now, if it was just the one that goes around the waist, because the one that goes around the waist is only attached by Velcro, and these ones that go around your legs are attached by Velcro too. So if it was only those, I could just buy the replacement, some kind of replacement elastic or whatever, and replace it. The problem is there's some, like in these corner areas, and in the bottom that attaches the double cup, that they're sewn in. And these are all, those ones are completely stretched out. Well, yeah, just about completely stretched out here. And that's what happened with the other one. Again, why that happens, I have no idea. So it causes it to, you can see it's very loose on the front. I mean, once you put it on, you put the pants on, the pants keep it in place. So, I mean, for now, I'm not gonna get another one. Keeps it in place pretty good. I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but I don't know, it just sucks that the elastic is like that. But other than that, it's great. It's the best, I mean, it's a cup. Not much to say about a cup, but it's the best cup I've ever owned as far as most protective. I don't feel, some people say it's too bulky, this model. I don't feel it's too bulky. I mean, other than your helmet, this is probably the most important piece of equipment you can get. So I don't want to skimp on the cup, but it's super protective. Nothing, you're not gonna get hurt. I mean, you get a direct shot with it, yeah, you feel a little pain, be down for a little bit. You're not gonna get seriously injured with this thing. I'm pretty sure this is probably about the most protective cup on the market. I mean, I haven't seen anything that's got more padding than this. The only thing, like I said, is the elastic. It's a shame because everything else about it I like. All right, so I guess I actually kind of skipped the glove and blocker for going technically down the body. But we're gonna use, okay, we'll go with the glove now. So my glove blocker and pads are all matching. They're all V7 XF Pro Carbon. The glove and blocker are stock as far as, well, the glove blocker and pads all have custom graphic, but the glove and blocker are stock as far as anything else besides the graphic. The pads have a few custom modifications, nothing major. I'll go over them when I get to the pads. So this is the V7 XF Pro Carbon glove. It's a two-piece glove. Man, I always mix up the break. It's a 60-degree break, I think. I can never remember 60 degree, 90 degree, 75 degree. There's like all these degrees and I can never remember. I'm pretty sure these Vaughn gloves are 60-degree break. It's got a double T pocket. I just have the cord. I don't have a skate lace. I've never had a skate lace pocket. I've always gone with the cord. I'm not opposed to it. It's just, I don't know, just the one, I've always had it. I've never had a problem with the cord, but I also, if something happened to come with a skate lace, I wouldn't mind that either. This glove is probably the easiest, well, no, the V6, I had V6 glove before this. The V6 and the V7 were like the easiest closing gloves I've ever had. I don't know why I play like this, but for whatever reason, I've mostly tended to, instead of closing my glove to catch a puck, I'll kind of cradle it in and just be like, not close it. Sort of like what people say Lundqvist does, because apparently he's got a hand injury a nerve injury or something that he got a long time ago where it caused him to not be able to close his glove. So he apparently gets it like super padded and protective in the palm, and he just cradles the puck in. So you're not really gonna see him snap the glove shut. I don't know why I had always done that from when I started playing and when I was younger. I guess I do kind of know. Probably because my older gloves were just hard to close, and instead of really like working on it, I just developed the whole cradle the puck technique. But starting with the V6 glove, and now with this one, since they were so easy to close, I do a lot more of actually shutting the glove, which is better. But that being said, also, I don't have any problems with stingers in the palms. I mean, this is not a pro palm or practice palm. This is just the stock palm. And it's been fine for me. I haven't had any problems with it. A really comfortable glove. Oh yeah, with the graphic you'll see on this, the blocker and the leg pads. For those of you who don't recognize it, this was the Florida Panthers colors, and this is the graphic that Trevor Kidd had back in 2001. That was around when the very first Velocities came out. So he had some V1s, and he had this exact color scheme and the exact graphic. And I've always been a Panthers fan, so I remember when I first saw him wearing those, and I thought they were awesome. They were like my favorite pads at the time. And ever since then, I've only started getting custom graphics or colors with my last 4 sets. And I've only started using Vaughn starting with the V6s. So with the V6s I had, I just had the retro. It wasn't really a custom graphic. It was, they offer the retro look where it's just the knee rolls are different color. The knee rolls and the side roll are different color than the rest of the pad. But I had those in custom colors, custom Panthers colors, the red, the navy, and the sport gold. Then when I decided I was gonna stick with Vaughn and get the V7s, I was like, all right, let me see if I can get the Trevor Kidd graphic. And I worked with a rep, and they did it for me, and it looks great. I basically, I didn't even have to go over every little minutia with them about it. I basically just sent them the pictures of Trevor Kidd, and I was like, make me the V7 version of this. And they did, and I love it. I get a lot of compliments on this set. I think it looks pretty sick. It's the back of the glove, front of the glove again. And moving on to the blocker. So this is actually the first Vaughn blocker I've ever had, because with my V6 set, I had the V6 glove and leg pads, but the blocker I actually used a CCM Retro Flex blocker. Reason for that is the set I had before that was the Reebok Larceny set, and it was the full set of the glove blocker and the leg pads. And I really loved the Larceny blocker. Blocker, people say blocker's a blocker, and nobody really cares too much about it. And for the most part, most of the blockers I had are just yeah, whatever, it's a blocker. Didn't stand out. The Larceny blocker was the first one I've had that actually stood out to me. And especially coming from, because before that I had an iTech blocker that the finger protection on it sucked. And I had taken a shot where it kind of hit my stick right under the blocker, and it shot right up into my finger, and it kind of fractured the end of my finger. So coming from that, and then going to the Larceny blocker, that was really a beefed up blocker, I loved it. It still, even though it had a lot more protection, it didn't hinder movement or anything. So then when I moved to Vaughn, I was hesitant, since I had never used the Vaughn blocker. I was hesitant to go with that, and I wanted to stick with the closest thing I could find, since they didn't make the Larceny set anymore. And to me, the closest thing I could find was the CCM blocker. So I used that with the other Vaughn set. Then while I still had that Vaughn set, I bought a second V6 set. It wasn't really meant that I was ever going to use it as a main set. I just bought it as kind of like a backup set, and also it had some different specs than my V6 set. I'm not going to get into it too much, but that set came with the blocker, and I use it, and I was like, oh, it's not quite as protected maybe as the Retro Flex blocker was, but it was fine. I had no problems with it. So with the V7 set, when I got that, especially since I have the custom graphic and everything, I wanted everything to match. I just went with their blocker, and I have no complaints about it as far as protection wise. There's no fear. I don't know what else to say about it. It's well balanced. I like the placement of the palm on it. Allows you to move your wrists pretty well. Don't have any problem with that. I don't know what else to say. It's a blocker. Okay, so now to the leg. Oh, just real quick, since we were on the knee pads. These are the volleyball knee pads I wear underneath the other knee pads. Probably really don't need these at this point. Again, this was just a holdover of what I had used when I was younger back in the 90s. And at this point, it's probably just like a familiar feel thing. But it doesn't bother me, it doesn't restrict me, it doesn't do anything bad. So I figure, why not put as much protection on my knees as possible? I mean, this doesn't protect really shots. This is more for just when you're constantly a whole ice session, a whole game, landing on your knee. It just helps protect your knees more that way. Gives it a little extra padding. So just want to throw that out there. That's what I also use. All right, on to the leg pads. These are the Vaughn V7 XF Pro leg pads, same model as the Glove and Blocker, same Trevor Kidd Panthers graphic. So these are pretty stock. The mods I got, I mean, I don't even know if this is a mod at this point. It's a double break. I mean, it's just an option. I wouldn't say it's a modification, it's just an option. Got a double break, and then instead of the stock, was it nylon pads with the clip, I always, a little old school, I always liked the leather straps. So I requested those straps, and I requested one up top because if you're gonna get a double break, the double break is kind of useless if you don't have a strap at the top to pull it in. So I asked for the one strap up top, single knee strap, two straps in the calf area, boot strap, and then it's just, the Velcro is the stock Velcro setup. So you have the one that goes around your calf, and then you have this one that's for the knee. Now, I had always, before this pad, I had always used it like this, straight across the knee. I mean, I didn't have an option really, because none of my other pads had the attachment point down here, but I had never really thought about it either. Now, with the V6 pads, they didn't have this attachment. I had to do it across the knee, but the combination of the thicker Warrior knee pads didn't really jive too well with the knee cradle on my Vaughn V6s. And even though I had to put it across the knee, it was a little uncomfortable and it was kind of a tight fit. So with these, when I saw this was an option, I've actually never used these with it across here. It's the first time I used these pads, I tried it down here, loved it, haven't looked back. It opens up the knee cradle a lot for my knee pads. And for me, there's no reason for me to go back and put it across the knee. I really like how it feels when you free up the knee there. Main reason why I like Vaughn, and it's been a pattern, and even when I haven't gone with Vaughn with other pads in the past, is I like a flexible, really soft, flexible pad. Again, like I've been saying, I'm kind of an old school goalie, plus with the bad hips, I just feel like a flexible pad fits me better. I like how a flexible pad will move. It's like more like a part of your leg than if you get one of these really stiff plywood type pads. That is more like you strap something to your leg and it's independent. With a really flexible pad, it's like it's part of your, I mean, this will move and twist in just about any way you want it to. And especially, I mean, I've had these are a little over a year old, this whole set. So it's well broken in by now. And especially the boot, that's a big deal for me. I like a flat boot. Most modern pads have the boot like that. Because the theory is, most people have a wider butterfly and you want the rebounds to hit off it and slide out. Whereas if you have a wide butterfly and you have a flat boot and it hits there, then it's gonna kick the rebound back out. Well, since I don't have a wide butterfly, that's not an issue for me. Put it there and the boot is still kicking the rebounds more out to the side. Plus, it's just, I just like it better. It's just reminds me more of the older pads I've used in the past. It's just a comfort thing. So I like a flat boot like that. Yeah, like I said, it's super comfortable, flexible. Out of the major brands, it's the most flexible pad out there. You know, I haven't really seen a lot of things like Patron. I haven't tried Passau. But as far as like the major big time companies, Bryan's, Bauer, Vaughn, CCM, Warrior, this is by far the most flexible pad you could get. I think the V7s were an improvement over the V6s. So a complaint with Vaughn leg pads in the past was that, oh, they shrank over time, they kind of got a warped shape. So starting with the V6s, and this is where the whole carbon part of their branding comes in. The V6s, they had these carbon inserts, but they had separate inserts, if I'm not mistaken. Like, it wasn't one continuous one. It was like they had one in the shin, then there was a break, and then they had another one up top. So it kept its, it didn't really shrink like past models, and it kept its shape pretty well. But how do I put this? It was still, over time, it would get kind of, I don't know, a little too soft, floppy-ish. I don't really, I'm not articulating it well what I'm trying to say, but so with the V7s, it's got one continuous carbon sheet going through it. So it keeps its shape better, and also it seals the ice a little better. It's a little more squared off. I don't know how good you can tell that. It's a little more squared off than the V6 was. The V6 would still kind of get a little more rounded on the sides and be a little, I don't know how to, maybe a pillowish is the word. With these, it was an improvement as far as sealing the ice, squaring off to the puck, while still providing the flexibility that I like. So yeah, that's the leg pads. Here's the other leg pad, same thing. Again, these are the same graphic and colors that Trevor Kidd had back in 2001 when he played for the Panthers. Getting to the end now. So skates, I use the Bauer Reactor 9000 skates. I've been a Bauer skate guy for a while now. I like the way they fit my feet. I like the way they feel. I like the way they perform. Durability and quality, big surprise with Bauer, right? Durability and quality has been an issue with me. I've looked past it just because, like I said, to me they feel the best on my feet, and I like the way they perform. So I've just kind of dealt with the poor durability and quality issues. These ones actually have been an improvement. Out of all the Bauer skates I've had, these ones are holding up the best so far. Really nothing I can complain about with them. In the past, even fairly early, I would get the eyelets popping out. Notoriously, the vertex cutout would crack and completely go to crap. These ones, as you can see, are still pretty intact. It's has maybe a little, not even, maybe on the other one. This one has a little crack in it. But compared to past ones I've had that were completely gone and shattered, that's nothing. And it hasn't, since it's been like this for a little while, it hasn't gotten any worse. So that's an improvement. Haven't lost any eyelets on these ones. When I first got them, they felt, the very first time I used them, they felt really uncomfortable on my feet. I never had to bake skates before in the past. I mean, I've been playing for 22, almost 22 years, 21 years now I've been playing. I've never baked skates because I never felt I needed to. I always put them on and they felt fine. For whatever reason, these ones, first time I used them, didn't, they felt terrible. I was like, oh, this is a mistake. I'm gonna have to go back to my old skates, which before this I had the Reactor 6000s. Then someone suggested baking them. So I was like, all right, let me give it a try. Baked them, and that solved it. Ever since then, they feel fine on my feet. I love them. Yeah, they perform great. I put step steel on them, just the regular, not the extreme. But I need to replace the steel actually on it because you're not gonna be able to see on the camera, but there's a little marking. It's like right down here. There's a little marking where step steel puts on it, where it tells you like once you get down to that, it's time to replace it. And I'm about, no, I can't find it. Like maybe a centimeter, a little over a centimeter, I don't know, away from being at that point. It's pretty close. So I actually have new step steel, but I haven't gotten around to getting them sharpened yet. I mean, I can still get some more use out of this, so I'll use these for a little while longer, then I'll replace them. I do like the step steel. It doesn't completely radically change your game from regular steel, to be honest, in my opinion. But if you can get them, I would suggest getting step steel. To me, the extreme is too extreme. You don't need that much. The regular step steel is enough of a, extra bit to help you with your pushes. But really, if you can't do your pushes even with stock regular steel, it's an issue of you need to practice it more, not an issue of you need to get different blades, because you should still be able to do the pushes even with a regular steel. So I would, you need to work on that first, and then from there you can use the step steel. At least that's what I recommend, because if you can't do it to start off with, using a little bit of a cheat, if you want to call it that, to do it is not really helping your game. So yeah, I mean, I'm a Bauer skate guy. The only thing now with that going forward, I'm not crazy about any of their new skates. The 1S, the Vapor X, and the 2S. Mainly because of the trigger release system they have on those. To me, what they had on these was fine, where you just, a little screw, or a little bolt here, just undo that, blade comes out, you replace it, easy enough. Yes, the trigger system is quicker. It freaks me out though when I've seen professionals, I've seen it happen to other guys I've played against, where the blade pops out. People will say, oh, it's so rare, it's not really something you have to worry about. And I'm not gonna argue that. Yeah, it probably is super rare, and there's chances are it wouldn't happen to me, but I'm the kind of guy where if there's any chance, or if it'll just be in the back of my head, like, oh, something I have to worry about, extra I have to worry, like, oh, is it gonna pop out? I know it's probably stupid, but that's just the way I am. And I'm like that. It's the same way why with my leg pads, I still wear the skate lace toe tie instead of people use some kind of a bungee cord thing. Various companies sell that. Some of the newer pads just come with that stock. And people complain that those break. Like with the skate lace, I've really never had a problem with it breaking. I think one time in my whole life I had it because somebody's skate ended up, I don't even know how it happened, but somebody's skate somehow caught my skate lace and cut it. I mean, in that case, there's really nothing you can do about it. But other than that, the skate lace holds up. It's not, I don't have any worry it's gonna just break on me, whereas people who have used the bungee cord style toe tie thing have said, I've heard more than a few people complain about how they can break. And I just don't want to have to worry about that. I don't want to have to worry about anything with my equipment when I'm playing. To me, that's just a distraction. And with the new Bauer trigger system, I just feel like it's something I'm going to have in the back of my head, like worrying about it. As much as it might be completely stupid and unfounded, I know that's just the way I am. And I just don't want to have any worries about it. If they would offer the new skates without having that, and if they would go back to the bolt system, I would be completely on board with trying the newer stuff. So with that being said, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I mean, these skates are still good. I'm not planning on changing them, getting new ones anytime soon. You can still get a lot more use out of these, but if it does come to where I do need new skates, I don't know if I'm sticking with, if I'm gonna get the new Bauers. The new CCMs look pretty interesting to me. I might give those a look when the time comes. But yeah, I don't see myself getting any of the newer Bauers that are out right now. So those are the skates. I mean, that's pretty much it. Only thing left, bag. I don't know if this is good, if I can get this in the frame. Yeah, I can. So I use a Vaughn bag. It was, you know, I don't know what happens if they don't make these bag anymore, but I saw it on Goalie Monkey. It was just labeled like the Vaughn Big Bag or something. It was basically, it was advertised as like the biggest bag they've ever made. And that's why I bought it, because I just wanted to get as much room as possible, because I put my leg pads in my bag. A lot of guys put everything else and they just carry the leg pads over their shoulders separately or whatever. I like to put everything in the bag, except my pants, actually. I know it's weird. I don't think I've seen anybody else that does that. And again, this is just something that stems from what I did when I started. For whatever reason, when I started playing, I did this. And it's just a habit now. So I put everything in my bag, and then I put my goalie sticks through the pants, and they so they hang off my goalie sticks, and that's how I walk into the rink. Why? I don't know why. That's just, I've always done it. But anyway, so this is the big, super big, whatever, Vaughn goalie bag. I don't know what happened, but I haven't seen it on Goalie Monkey anymore, so I don't know if they only made it for a little bit and they stopped, or if they still maybe make it. I like it. It's, you know, there's no bells and whistles to it. There's not extra pockets, whatever. It's literally just the bag, and it's big, so you fit everything in it. It's pretty durable. I haven't had, like other bags in the past. I think before this was a Warrior and a Bauer bag before this, and they developed holes. I don't know if it was just from wear, like rubbing against something or what, but this one's held up real good. Hasn't developed any holes. I know when I read the description when I went to order it, it was advertised as being very durable, whatever, the way it was made. So I mean, if you're looking for a durable big bag, this is great. But then again, like I said, I haven't seen it being sold since I bought it, so I don't know what's going on with that, but it's the bag I use. Oh, my sticks. I will be right back. Alright, so the stick I use, custom Warrior Pro stick. It's a 26 inch and a Jonathan Quick curve. Now, since I was trying to recreate the Trevor Kidd look with the Vaughn set, I wanted to try to recreate his stick too. So the stick he used at the time was actually a Brian stick. And even though Brian's does make goalie sticks still, their sticks don't look the same. So the graphic would have looked different on it anyway. And I've just never used a Brian stick. I've been using Warrior sticks for a while and I really like them. So I figured I'm just gonna, even though it's not the brand Trevor Kidd used at the time, I'm just gonna stick with the brand I like and just get the colors and everything to match as much as possible. So that's what I did. So, I mean, obviously the Warrior logo is different than what he used, but other than that, it's basically the color pattern is the same, including he had a natural color up here with just the navy. And then down here, he had the sport gold navy font outlined in red. This one, I actually had to get it, not only, I mean, Warrior offers custom anyway, but if you go on their customizer, they didn't offer sport gold for the paddle like this. So I actually had to talk to Goalie Monkey about seeing if they would be able to get it done for me, even though it wasn't just offered on their customizer. So I was told eventually that they could do it. It was a special order for me. And so this one was actually made, it says made in Finland. I think most of the stock pro ones, and even the ones you would normally get custom, are made in Canada. But I guess because I got it with the real special colors, they had to get it from the Finland plant. I don't know if that necessarily means it's a better quality, but that's what I got. I got a 6-pack of these. This is not the one I'm using now. I got one of the new ones just so it would look nice on here. The one I'm currently using is pretty beat up. So I have, besides the one I'm currently using that's pretty beat up, I have 3 more new ones out of the 6-pack. These are foam core sticks. Again, it's just a thing where if I've always used it, I feel comfortable with it. I like the way they feel. Yeah, they're heavier than composite, but to me, they're way more durable. I've tried some composites, and every one has broken within 4 months. I'd say, I don't even know if it actually, no, probably not even 4 months. They've broken within a few months, 3 months maybe. They always break up here. So, and they're expensive. So to me, it's just not worth it. Like, yeah, if I was a pro and I was getting the sticks for free, sure, give me all the composites. But to me, the weight saving is so minuscule. Again, it's another thing like I was talking about with the helmets. To me, you don't notice it when you're playing. You'll notice it if you're in a store and you pick up 2 sticks and you're, oh yeah, okay, it's a little lighter. I don't know, maybe it's just me and somebody else will have a different opinion. To me, it's not something I really notice playing. You give me a composite stick, you give me the foam core stick. As soon as I put it in my hand, I might notice. Once I start playing, I don't really notice the weight. And the foam core is just so much more durable. I mean, I go through, again, so I'm on my 3rd stick in over a year. So that's about, and that's not because it broke. When I changed the foam core sticks, it's only because they've gotten so, what it is, since it's wood and foam core, it'll get, instead of breaking, it'll get little chips or little dents from shots, and eventually it just gets so beat up that it starts getting kind of, loses its structural integrity a little bit. It gets kind of like a soft, I don't know how else to say it. And you just know it's kind of time to change up the stick. So even when I have gotten rid of it and went to a new one, it's not really because it's broken and I had to, absolutely. It's just that it got to the point where it was so beat up, I was like, yeah, I could feel it kind of not having the same rigidity to it, and it was just so beat up, I decided to use one of the newer ones. So this is not this one, but the one I'm using now is the 3rd stick out of the 6-pack. Like I said, it's been 14 months. So I don't know, do the math, however many months that is, maybe figure each stick lasts me almost 5 months. Whereas the composite, like I said, lasted me 3 months at the most that I've used. And, it's half the price, less than half the price of a composite. So, yeah, very happy with these Warrior sticks. And that's about it. Final thing, I don't know, water bottle. Use the Gatorade water bottle. And that's that. So, hopefully somebody found something useful out of this. Otherwise, I'm just talking to myself. If you have any questions, leave a comment. I'll answer it the best I can. All right.